Happy Weeb Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. The one day a week where I bring you guys an anime that deserves a reboot, or a manga, manhwa, light novel, or webtoon that deserves an anime of its own. And this week we're going to talk about a series that actually got an anime, but is so different from the manga that I think the manga actually deserves its own adaptation. And that series is Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is like the regular Yu-Gi-Oh! But with a much darker tone to it. Now, it's not berserk levels of dark, mind you, but it is still a pretty dark series in comparison to the original anime that we all watched growing up. And if we're going to have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, we're going to have to start at the beginning with Yu-Gi-Moto as our protagonist in the Duel Monsters era. Now, Yugi used to be your average high school kid who loved the game of Duel Monsters and was actually a pretty decent duelist before the events of the series got started. However, his life was forever changed when one day he found a puzzle box and inside it solved the Millennium Puzzle and put it back together again. But that puzzle wasn't normal, as it contained the ancient spirit of the Pharaoh, who was the original creator of the Duel Monsters card game and one of the greatest duelists of all time. And with this discovery and newfound bond with the spirit of the Pharaoh, Yugi and his friends figure out that there's way more to the game of Duel Monsters than meets the eye. Now, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime had 224 episodes and a bunch of movie tie-ins. But the manga, as I said previously, is vastly different from the anime. And with all of the different tie-ins and sequel series, spanning multiple decades and volumes, there's certainly enough content here for the manga to get an anime of its own. Especially when you have a grand total of 388 chapters that you can animate. Speaking of animation, if I was going to let a studio handle this one, I would go with Studio Gala. They've handled a lot of the recent Yu-Gi-Oh! Projects, so I don't see why they couldn't do the same thing with the manga. And who knows, if all goes well, the manga for the other series could get animated as well. But that'll take care of things for this week, and be here next week for another